Oh God, not again. Cool Ranch corner number 68. TikTok is going dark. We're gonna talk about that in a bit, but first up, how's your week?
Honestly, it wasn't too bad. Like it's been a hectic week, but I
I'm
don't know. I
pretty
mean,
shitty for me.
oh yeah, I know. I got a 3D printer. It's my fourth 3D printer. It's this it's like I think it's called like an Anycubic like Cossel or something like that. It's a Delta style printer. So the whole benefit to it is that it's able to do taller prints. So if I wanted to make something that was like, I mean, there's not really any things that I would make that are going to be that tall, but I have the ability to do that now. So, I mean, it's just kind of a cool little extra tool to have. So, but it was a good deal, and I'm happy with it.
Nice. Pollo Loco surpassed 155,000 views. So that's cool. When we hit 150K, we mixed all 26 Jifa hydration flavors, and that was pretty awful. I drank some, and it made my stomach hurt because it was so much salt and vitamins. Um, so wouldn't recommend doing that. It didn't taste bad. It was just like overwhelming.
Well,
But
if you had to say like what it tasted like, what would you say?
it just tasted like a tutti frutti jelly bean, just a bunch of different flavors together. It didn't taste bad at all. It just was really strong. A lot of salt and sour and yeah.
Hmm.
But for 175K, we're gonna try a double chocolate
Chocolate
cookie
cookie and
and
a
a chicken
chicken
bake.
bake.
Yeah, because we've never had either of them, so
Yeah, I
that'll be
found
fun.
out there. So there's a Costco near me, right? And I went to go get Jersey Mike's today because it seems to be my tradition now. Every week I'm gonna get Jersey Mike's on Saturday, because I freaking
I've
love
been
Jersey
doing
Mike's.
Panera a lot because they have that like pick two thing where you get like soup in a sandwich.
Do they still have that lemonade? The one that like
Probably.
gives you like a heart attack?
Oh no, I don't know anything about that.
It had like a ton of caffeine in it.
Never
And
heard about
it
that.
was this thing a
I
while
had a
back.
roommate who worked at Panera, and I never heard about that.
The kitchen sink cookie.
Oh God, so good.
um, but so I found out, yeah, there's a Costco. There's this roundabout that you have to go to get through it, but it's like one of the most confusing roundabouts I've ever seen. And I'm thinking I might have to go over there like at 6 in the morning and just see how that roundabout works because it's like it said there was a left turn into the roundabout, but roundabouts are one way. Like there's a right turn lane.
There's different entry points though.
Yes, but there was a right turn lane to get into the roundabout, and in that same road, there's a left turn lane to go into the roundabout. And so, explain this to me, right? So there's a lane that goes to the right and one that goes in the left. So if you go all the way around, what happens? You crash into the other car that was in the right lane if you went to the left side. I'm confused. I don't know if it's just a place for you to do a U-E, but I don't
I don't know,
like the
man.
strangest roundabout I've ever
I've
seen.
I've never had an issue with roundabouts anywhere I've lived. They're always pretty
Well,
straightforward. You just
yeah,
gotta
it's
yield.
yeah, usually, but I just don't understand why there's a right and a like.
Uh,
Maybe I suck at driving. I probably do. If you tell me in the comments what's going on with that, because I don't understand. I'm genuinely like I need help. Like
well,
I,
I do have something to discuss with you. So without getting into too much detail, I had one of my best friends growing up got sentenced to 5 years in prison for something that he shouldn't have gone to prison for.
right.
Without getting into details, it really shitty situation, and so he had to do some time. Still, like I said, like a great human being, just unfortunate circumstances. He's getting out, I think either this month or next month, and so I was thinking about driving to our hometown to like see him, see my goddaughter, and it's only like an extra hour, not maybe not even a full extra hour if I drive through Tucson or drive through Tucson on like there or on the way back. So I was thinking about maybe stopping there for a day.
I
so we could hang
think
out or something.
what I'd almost suggest is how long do you plan on being in Yuma?
Probably like 2 days.
Because I was talking to mom and dad about getting a new car.
Really?
Yeah, and so will probably have to go to Yuma at some point. Anyways, we're still talking about. I haven't gotten a chance to talk to mom about it, but I don't know. It might even be better to just go to Yuma, just take some time off work and go. I was thinking next month.
Yeah, I was thinking next month too.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know. I'll have to figure out when. I'm traveling a lot in the next like 2 months, man. I'm going to New York at the beginning of the month for something I can't talk about yet, and then I may be going to LA to shoot some scenes for a buddy of mine. Um, he's talking about like paying for my travel, so it'd be like a free trip to LA basically. And it's like, oh, I go see Genie and stuff like that. So why not? You know, it's always a fun time. And then at on the 28th, we're flying to Florida for my roommate from San Francisco's wedding, and we're going to Universal Orlando while we're there. Right before my birthday, and so yeah, I don't know, either next month or March I'll probably go. So we'll have to talk and discuss and try to line it up. But
Yeah.
that would be cool if it was like you and I and Yuma and got to hang out and see mom and dad and go out to dinner and stuff. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I because although I love my Fiesta, the big discussion that came up is like my car is not going to be worth anything soon. It's like still worth 4 grand, I think. But
Yeah, you might as well get something while you can. And I mean, there's some really good like entry level compact cars now for like, you know, PK that you get that have bells and whistles now, like blind
yeah,
spot monitoring and stuff are standard. So
yeah, yeah. We'll have to talk about that. But
yeah.
in other news, the big story.
Yes.
Oh boy.
All
So
week I've been getting it feels like I've been jerked around
yeah.
by the US government.
Yep.
You know, one day they're like, "Oh, the Supreme Court's going to hear out TikTok. They're going to let them, you know, give their case why it shouldn't be banned." And they were basically like, "Oh yeah, no, we totally get. You think this is a free speech issue, but we don't care. This is a national security issue." And it's like, "But how is it a national security issue?" And the government's just like, "It just is." They like didn't give any evidence. They didn't say anything to support it. It was just like a bunch of old guys going, "TikTok is a threat because China." And they're like, "What about Temu? What about all these other apps that like that literally ask for permission to like see your passwords and stuff and like listen to conversations? TikTok doesn't do that." And they're like, "China." And so they there was a couple different things that happened throughout the week. They were like, there was a really good TikTok I saw where this guy kept like unpacking his bag and packing it back up.
Yeah.
Like they were like, "Oh, this guy, this senate, a couple of senators, they're gonna introduce a 270-day extension. We're good. We're gonna be fine." And then like immediately it gets denied by this guy who's trying to sell a book.
What was
Trying to
what was
sell a
like
book about
was
China.
it Tom Cotton or whatever his name
Yeah,
is? Yeah.
bro just cooked his career in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like everybody's review bombing his book and it's not even out yet. Comes out in like 2 weeks. It's about China. Something to
Well,
do with like
I think what I think is crazy is like in an attempt to get people off of an app that is owned and operated in China, right?
everybody went to Red Note. Yeah.
Yeah, which is literally
Which I did
Chinese
not
TikTok.
download.
I did not download it. I don't plan on downloading it. I
It's
think
all in Mandarin, so like I can't like it's ridiculous. Like
I also heard that people were downloading Lemon 8, which I know we had talked about a while back.
it's owned by TikTok, so there's a
Yeah.
good chance that because it's like I guess the same thing. I know
It's
CapCut, TikTok, and possibly Lemonade all go dark tomorrow, but
wait, Lemon 8's going since when? I didn't know about that.
so the Lemonade is owned by TikTok.
Yeah, but I thought that the app TikTok was what was going down, not the company was going down.
I don't think people really know, but I saw that there's a good chance that Lemonade goes dark too. We just don't really know until it happens because it's all connected.
I'm just surprised that they're gonna try and enforce it on a weekend.
Lemonade sucks ass though, man. It is like it's like Pinterest with videos.
I heard
It
it was
is
more
just
like
the interface
Instagram.
sucks. It no, Instagram is way better compared to this.
Yeah.
Instagram's basically like TikTok with like a carousel for like pictures and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But um if so the 270 extension thing was introduced, immediately shot down by this, I don't know, this loser Tom whatever, who is probably done as a politician because of his asinine comments about TikTok, and how he blocked it immediately without like any reason. And then they were like, "Oh well, it's okay. Biden is not going to enforce it if it does happen, and there's a chance that they're not going to like uphold the law." And then they uphold the law, and then Biden says, "Yeah, we're not going to enforce it," and then they're saying Trump is going to possibly do a 60 to 90-day extension when he gets in, but it might take a couple days for him to do it. And then TikTok goes, "Well, these service providers can be fined up to like $1 billion a day if we allow people to access the app, and we don't want them to be on the hook for that. So we are going to shut things down and go dark when it happens to avoid any of that confusion and frustration and issues." We like they're trying to be like they're trying to act in good faith about this whole thing and comply. And they were like, unless Biden comes out and says those service providers will not be fined, then we don't want to take the risk. And then Biden comes out and says, this is all smoke show. This is like none of this is real. Like you guys are just bluffing and all this stuff like that. And they're like, well, then what are you guys doing? Are you guys bluffing? Because this is just this. None of this makes sense. And so now the word on the street and what all the news outlets are going with is that Trump has said that as soon as he's inaugurated, he's going to sign a 90-day extension and try to fix this whole mess and get it sold. I think there's a good chance it'll get bought. There's a lot of big names thrown in their bids, but I just think there's not enough time to have a legit bidding war.
Yeah.
And so a bidding war hasn't happened yet. But the guy from Shark Tank put like 20 billion in cash on the table. They say it's valued at 40 billion.
I hear different numbers every time. I've heard
40 billion is what the TikTok CEO said
I've heard
on the news.
I've heard 300 billion. I've heard 100 billion. I've heard 400 billion. Now I've heard 40.
ByteDance is worth 300 billion, but
That's okay.
the TikTok US sector is worth 40 billion.
Okay.
And Mr. Beast said he got a bunch of billionaires together, but we don't really know if that's true or not.
I don't
He might
even-
just be trying to farm engagement.
Yeah, I don't even think I'd want Mr. Beast to own TikTok either. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't either. Elon Musk has been rumored to be talking about buying it, and I mean he's got all the money in the world, so he could very easily outbid whoever. So I don't know. I think there's a good chance it gets bought, and we're gonna be okay. The one thing that I'm very curious about is if it does get bought, they're supposed to completely redo the algorithm. And so if they completely redo the algorithm, hopefully they get rid of TikTok Shop or segregate it so that it's not ruining the For You page. But maybe it'll be like old days where like you can actually like go viral as long as you don't like do something to violate community guidelines, you know? That would be sweet.
Get my account unbanned. Oh.
But as of right now, at 1 p.m. Eastern, it is supposed to go dark. Like you'll if you log into the TikTok app, it's going to say you can't log in because this is not allowed in your country, and go to this website for updates. So it looks like it'll be dark for at least 24 hours. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens on Monday. But as a creator who started during the pandemic, and quite honestly, I can say that without TikTok, I have no clue what my family situation would be like. I don't know where I would be living. I don't know. I just don't know what would have happened if TikTok hadn't like been a thing and allowed me to do what I do, you know, and support my family. Because I was burning through my savings pretty quickly until I started getting paid by the TikTok Creator Fund, and it allowed me to get people to go over to my Twitch, which is, like I said, with the way the algorithm is now, if you try to use TikTok to get people to go to your Twitch, it's so much harder. I feel like people don't see your stuff as much, and then it also is just like people know that like that's what people do. They use TikTok to try and get you to go somewhere, so it's just like there's resistance there to that. But I mean, back when it happened, it was literally a lifesaver. Like, I don't know. I would have had to got my wife and I probably would have both had to get jobs. Probably wouldn't have been able to have a kid because our financial situation wouldn't have supported it, and wouldn't have my Mustang with its beautiful taillights and all that stuff. So I don't know, man. It's really sad. Um, I mean, I was watching a TikTok and they were talking about how people don't realize that when you have worked on something as hard as I have, like TikTok, and building up my following and continuing to post every day for the last almost 5 years, if it just goes away, it's like losing a loved one. Like your brain registers that as like grieving for the loss of a loved one because you have so much heart invested into it that it literally feels like your dog died or something. And so I don't feel great right now. It's every time I open TikTok, it's just like a constant reminder that like it might all go away. And even if we do get a 90-day extension, there's still a chance that it doesn't work out. And like, I mean, we might just be kicking the can down the road. But I think one thing that's been really inspiring to see is how everybody's kind of like united and been like, yo, this is wrong. Like, the numbers are there to show that 170 million Americans use TikTok and set over 7 million small businesses use TikTok in order to like get by. And so it's gonna affect people's lives more than you think. I look at like Twitter and people are like, good, I don't use TikTok anyways, so who cares, and it's just like you just don't understand the gravity of the situation. And like, I mean, it's just like any other thing that you're like, oh, who cares that this is happening in the world? I don't know anything about that. Like, it just makes people look dumb. And there's a lot of people who say that we might be better off without TikTok because it just makes people stupid. But I think TikTok doesn't necessarily make people stupid. I think it just exposes who the stupid people are. If that makes sense. Because you can like, based off what people post, you can see what's going on in their head.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know how I feel about TikTok. If they extend the time that they have before it gets officially banned, I hope that whoever buys it, if someone buys it, can make the app worth using again. Because ever since like, God, probably like, maybe was it late 2021 or like early 2022? Probably early 2022. I feel like crap started to get really like stupid. I know what it was. Ever since they introduced the freaking slideshows, dude. That's what it was to me, where stuff started getting really stupid.
I think it was stories. As soon as they introduced stories and all these other little features, it was just more stuff that got added to the For You page that restricted the reach of like normal ass videos. And I really like, after going through and downloading all 6,000 of my TikToks, I literally saw like the ups and downs. And there was some really big peaks and valleys throughout there. But it seems like once the TikTok shop came in, it like flattened out as like just kind of like it became more like, this is an average views. It doesn't fluctuate as much. My views have been okay recently, which is what's interesting. It almost feels like the app's gotten a little better before it gets banned. And
it's like was it the Punisher? Whoa, wait,
no. Well, I got a really interesting email last night that said that they're introducing this new thing called like a violation report. And so now if your TikTok gets taken down, they're actually going to tell you why.
YouTube doesn't have that.
No, I mean, I just had a video get taken down and YouTube wouldn't tell me why. So
Yeah,
that was interesting.
That was okay. I want to talk about that really quick. Did you know that YouTube won't let you post a video where you sit on the toilet without showing anything, but they don't care if you post a video
It says
of you
that
doing yoga naked? Are you kidding me, bro? I do
not think it was that. I think that the issue is in the first 4 seconds, it looks like I get shot in the nuts. by a Nerf gun.
That's still
And
not.
if you look closely, I get shot in the hand. And so that's frustrating. All it tells me is that okay, if I'm gonna make some content that's that elaborate, because it was doing great,
Yeah.
it was blowing up, and then it just gets blocked. And I think I just have to be more careful about things like that. I got to make sure that things are safer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And lesson learned, but it was really frustrating because our views were just skyrocketing, and then boom, blocked, and now they like went back down.
Well,
So it's just like, oh,
not to
can't catch a
mention,
break.
there's also so if you have so you can now post YouTube shorts that are over a minute long, up to 3
Mhm.
minutes. If
If
you
there's
post
copyright music,
yeah, if there's copyrighted music and the video is over a minute, then
they completely block it. Like
Yeah.
literally, you can't post it.
yeah.
And so it's like, all right. So, but then there was like certain videos that had music that were fine. It really depended on the song. So I'm like, okay, if I use music, it's just gonna have to be broken into chunks. If I don't, then and it's less than 3 minutes, we're cool, you know. So it's interesting, but I honestly don't know if posting 3 minute videos are really worth it, because it just makes it even harder for the view time percentage, average view percentage to like be strong. So I don't even know if it's worth doing those longer. Instagram, literally yesterday, just increased from 90 seconds to 3 minutes. So
But they still
I
don't
know,
pay
man.
anybody.
That's what people are saying. Maybe they'll actually start paying people with all these features they're introducing. I saw there was a video from like some logistics guy from Instagram announcing this new feature called the Friends tab, and it's basically like you can see what your friends are watching, or you can see the reels that your friends are liking. And I looked at the comments, everybody's like, "Well, guys, looks like I'm cooked." Everybody's like, well, I'm not going to use Instagram if people can see the weird shit I'm liking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a terrible feature to introduce. What are you doing?
Yeah.
That was like when there was that rumor going around that Twitter was going to let people see what you bookmarked, and everybody's like, I'm cooked.
Well, so the other thing, so Instagram is just adding weird features in general right now. They're trying to add in AI accounts. So it's going to be accounts that are a completely like it's an AI generated person, and they post stuff, and I think they might actually interact with other users and stuff like that. And it's like, you ever heard of the dead internet theory?
Yeah.
So they're saying that's what it's going to be. For those who don't know, dead internet theory is that like when you go on the internet and you look in the comments section, like most of the people that are commenting aren't even real people, because it's all just bots, right? And sometimes you'll go into a comment section and it's just like people putting gibberish or putting like one-worded responses where they're like, nice, cool, awesome, like that, and you're like, this isn't a person. This person, no one would say that.
YouTube's hilarious to that, because the comment will be like, this is a really good video. Thank you for the insights. Like, I keep up the great content. And it's like, get the fuck out of your bot. Like, you know this is a bot. Twitter is funny because like it's the like the fake OnlyFans bots.
Yeah.
Because they always say like the same exact thing, you know. Somebody will be like, I can't believe this happened, this and that, and then somebody in the comments is just like, wait till you see what happened to my
Oh, so
and it's like, what?
so well, I get because I haven't really talked about it. So I started a second job recently, and part of the job involves like going on social media and like seeing certain posts and stuff like that. And this one came up, and mind you, some of these posts are like they are selected by the people that I'm working with. Like they're choosing this one for this specific thing, and they specifically said like if the content is like somewhat explicit or NSFW, like that's fine. Whoever is going to work on that task can choose to not work on that if they're not comfortable with it, right? Like if you're not comfortable working on something, you don't have to. And this one pops up, and it's this girl in this skimpy outfit in front of a Dunkin' Donuts, right? And all the caption says is like something, you won't believe what this girl did with her two bosses for a raise. And I was like, what am I looking at right now? I was like, this is weird. And then I scroll down, and the first thing I see in the comments is some girl being like, "That's me," and then there's like an
Yeah,
OnlyFans link,
that's
and I was like, "Are you
me.
kidding me, bro? Somebody put an OnlyFans ad." I was like,
Yeah.
"Get out of
Well,
here, man."
Instagram, I've noticed on Instagram accounts will get like hacked by these like OnlyFans kind of promoting things. Like
Yeah.
there was like a it was like a it was called like behind the filmmaking, and it was like all really really cool behind the scenes footage that I could not find anywhere else. And all of a sudden one day it's just like promoting somebody's OnlyFans account, and like the comments are just like, "What happened? So this shit got hacked?" Like it's just really disappointing because it was a great account and now it's gone. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Overall, the whole TikTok thing though is just
Yeah.
like I said, it's sad. It feels like losing a loved one. So I'm just like trying to stay positive and not let it get to me because there is a good chance that it only goes dark for a day or so. So
I just don't
well,
like
we'll
that
see.
it's been like these said, it was like that back and forth of like, guys, it's not gonna get banned. It's like it is. No, it isn't. My bad. Oh no, but it is though. No, but it isn't. And it's like, can you
I'm gonna see
guys
if there's
just?
any new updates.
I doubt it. But it's and the thing is like half of it is like, oh, Trump's gonna do this, and it's like, dude, the ban happens before he goes into office. So you could say, oh, Trump's gonna do this all that you want. If he's not in office, he can't do anything. So what is the current administration going to do? By the time that this episode gets posted on YouTube, um, the ban will already be in effect if it actually goes through. So I'm curious to see what happens. But
So NBC has officially reported that Trump plans to give TikTok a 90-day extension.
okay,
Um, that's what I'm seeing right now. Latest. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. That's the latest thing. That he will most likely give it. Yeah, no, it just says that everybody's waiting in nervous anticipation to see what happens.
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's I mean, it has exposed how dumb some people are though. Because when I've posted about it on TikTok, the comments are like, it's saved. Why did saving it? And it's just like, bro, what are you smoking? No, no, he's not. Where did it say that? Did you misinterpret the headline? Because
yeah,
like that, no, it's going dark. Like TikTok themselves said it will go dark.
yeah.
So we're gonna have to wait and see. I mean, next week's episode we'll have the aftermath. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting to talk about.
and then yeah, I'm
A
also
lot of
curious.
people,
What?
a lot of people have like I've seen a lot of comments that are like, "Time to get a real job," and I just comment. I'm like, I got 3.25 million on YouTube, so we're chilling. It will be okay.
Oh, which by the way, that's crazy, dude. Because
Yeah.
like, so let's say TikTok does come back, right? There's a very good chance that at some point you will see the follower count and the subscriber count between YouTube and TikTok even out. Like it might not be,
Yeah,
next
no,
month, but it's
my
gonna
YouTube,
happen at some point.
I have been I've gained I don't know, like 10,000 TikTok followers, 15,000 TikTok followers in the last month, which is like more than I usually do cuz people just don't follow each other on TikTok anymore. Like there's not really like I
Yeah, I have
mean,
noticed
it just
that.
doesn't do anything. So, it has been interesting to see that gap closing, like where YouTube has been catching up to my TikTok and yeah, no. But I mean, I know that my situation is very fortunate because there's a lot of people out there. You look and I've seen people who have like 10 million on TikTok, and you go look at their YouTube and they've got like 10,000.
Yeah,
So, um,
I was still surprised that
hard work is paid off.
AJ and Big
Sure.
Justice don't actually have very many followers. Like,
Dude, that like if TikTok does go away, they're cooked. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I don't know, dude. Speaking of celebrities who are like going on Jimmy Fallon, I know that's like kind of a random thing to make a connection to, but they were on Jimmy Fallon, right? Do you know Linus Tech Tips went on Jimmy Fallon?
No, but I'm not
Yeah,
surprised.
I was like, dude, like the narrative around it is that I think people are starting to realize that like legacy media is dying, and so
Yeah,
they're trying to capitalize on like YouTubers and stuff like that. And
right. Yeah.
I was like, wow, like it really shows like we're getting to a point where social media is the thing now. Like more people are using social media than legacy media at this point.
Well, during the LA fires, which I don't know what happened with that. I haven't heard as much. I don't know, man. The news is weird right now.
Yeah,
Very weird. I mean, I think they're through all the bad weather, so I don't know if anything's still burning over there, but hopefully they can start to finally like recover. Um, when I was watching the LA fire stuff on YouTube, like it's straight up like the same thing you can watch on TV, and they actually have like a view count on them now. And like, I mean,
yeah.
there was we're talking about like the biggest stream I could find was like 85,000 people watching like Fox or something.
Jesus.
And so a lot of them were in like the 10 to 30,000, and it's like, dude, if that's all that people are like, what I mean is like on YouTube it would say, oh, 6,000 people are watching this, but then like the view count is like 80 something thousand, which I think is like, all the views together. And
Mhm.
it's like there's Twitch streamers out there that got more viewers than that. Like that's crazy. Like legacy media is dying. I also have been seeing a lot of people say that cable TV's like probably going to go away in the next 5 years. It's just not going to exist anymore. Which sucks for old people because they don't know how streaming works and shit. So um I don't know. We're going through a lot of changes, like rapid changes right now across everything in entertainment. Like it's interesting, man. Interesting time to be alive, you know? But anyways, we'll see what happens with TikTok. I wanted to move on real quick to a update on my feature film Always Ready. Still in talks with this big name actor that we're supposed to have as our co-lead. So I can't say anything yet, but still making progress. I think we might have found our first AD, which is a big component of our crew. We got a sound mixer. So we're adding people to our team, and they all have great credits. So it's shaping together really well. I have to reach out to Ford, which has been trickier than I thought. They definitely gatekeep their contacts, but I'm trying to get a hold of Ford because my Mustang's in the film and I need permission to use it. So
Really?
that's interesting. Yeah, but well, because it's focused on a lot. If it was just
Oh,
kind of like barely in it, it wouldn't matter. Um, like it's legit a subplot in the film, so they definitely need permission. But they because I'm using my own car and they don't have to lend us a production car, they might even give us some sponsorship money. So
that'd be awesome.
we'll see. There's a couple local businesses that I've also been getting my contacts together to reach out to, like a burger joint and one of the breweries. So we'll see how that goes. I've been working with my composer. He's very eager, and so I'm like 2/3 of the way done, going through scene by scene and saying like, what the inspiration is for the score, and like what kind of vibe we're going for, and like where I need it to start and stop. So, if you look at a lot, oh, I got like a hair in my mouth. Oh, uh, if you look at a lot of the like award-winning scores and like really memorable scores, these composers started working on them before the film even shot. So, um, it's really cool that we have a composer who's willing to do that. So, yeah, just chugging away at it. It's a lot of work. Being a producer is a lot of work. All the talking and meetings, and got a couple actors that I've been talking to. We do have Russell, who played the robber in Stolen G Fuel, officially attached to play a character. So that's cool. Jorge is supposed to be in it. Giancarlo is not going to be in this one, and I'll keep updating you guys with any like official attachments. But this week has really been taken up by all the TikTok stuff. It sucks.
Yeah.
So, anyways, on to our quick ad break. uh, support us with Patreon. We had some really big subs happened this week. We had Rosa Adams subscribe at tier 2 for Patreon gaming sessions and early access to the podcast, as well as being able to submit questions. Nikki upgraded from a tier 2 to a tier 4. Thank you, Nikki. And then we have a new producer. Our old buddy Stungies, who goes by Guy Fox, which I think is his new streaming name, subscribed at tier 6. So he is now an associate producer. And he's been giving away Patreon subs in the Discord. So
Which I didn't know you could
join the
do.
Discord.
That's
Yeah, it's
really
a new
cool.
feature. Yeah, so thank you guys for supporting our Patreon. Because I think and Chris will talk about this a little bit later. I don't want to get into it too much for privacy's sake, but with the way things are going, I think it's probably best that I take over my YouTube editing again. And so Patreon is, how Chris gets paid for the podcast. So thank you guys for supporting it with Patreon. Use GFL code DannyD for 20% off. They just announced that Cherry Limeade's coming back, which is a great flavor. And then Hibiscus Tea got reskinned. They're Street Fighter reskins, so that's cool. I believe they are up for pre-order, but they ship early February. So code DannyD for 20% off. And then Fit Butters is dropping peanut butter, or chocolate peanut butter wafer, so like a Nutty Buddy flavor.
Oh,
It's gonna be good, baby. Yeah. Code DannyD for 10% off that. If you buy 4 tubs, which a lot of people have been doing recently, I looked at my analytics for commissions, and a lot of people are getting 4 tubs, which means they save $10.79 on their order with code DannyD, and then they get free shipping. So that's the way to do it, man. 4 tubs of Fit Butters should last you a while. So
yeah.
get you some. They have so many good flavors, man. We also have our Patreon giveaways this week. Every month towards the middle of the month, we have our big giveaways where we give away some G Fuel tubs or, something big. And this week I'm also giving away a Blu-ray. So this copy of The Departed, which is like a 5-star movie, 5 out of 5 right here, goes to Taste Carnage, one of our producers. Congratulations, Tyler. I'll be shipping this out to you ASAP. And then we have 2 tubs of PewDiePie Hydration and 2 Winter White Shakers. So each one of these winners, these 2 winners, is going to get a tub and a Winter White Shaker. Good deal. And those winners are, for the national giveaway, Guy Fox, our new producer, aka Stungies. So congratulations, brother. And then our international one is going to Nikki. So congratulations, guys. You'll have some G Fuel coming to you in the mail next week.
Really quick.
I'll be reaching out to you guys shortly
So
to make sure we got the right info.
random thing. So, and we'll get to Black Ops 6 talk in a bit, but shout out to Nikki for not playing so much Black Ops 6 lately. Dude's gotten off.
Been
the
playing
game.
Marvel Rivals.
Yeah. So he said that he hadn't been on in 3 weeks.
Wow.
I was like, dang.
Well, I mean, dude, he got Dark Matter, so it's like, what is the point at that?
Aside from Master Prestige level like 1000 or whatever, yeah, it's not much.
Yeah.
I haven't hit Master Prestige yet. I think I'm still Prestige 8, something like
I'm
that.
just about to be Prestige 4. I'm like level 54, Prestige 3. I've been playing some zombies. I have a save file right now that's like round 27 or something on Citadel. So
Well, I mean, double Gobblegums
I'm gonna probably
right
play.
now.
Yeah, double Gobblegums, double everything right now.
Yeah,
So-
but the dude, I can't speak. Double Gobblegums are still insane. I was thinking, dude, I might honestly just start going for high rounds to get Gobblegums.
That's what I'm doing. I'm
Yeah.
just grinding and getting XP. Another feature for Patreon members is the ability to ask a question every week. So we got quite a bit of questions here.
Ooh.
First up, Rosa Adams asks, "What are your favorite movies from the last year?" Mine was Piece by Piece. Mine's Snack Shack. Better Man, I just saw that, which I'm going to talk about later. That was a sleeper, great film that nobody saw. So nobody saw either of those films, but Snack Shack and Better Man, very underappreciated.
I mean, what came out in the last year, dude? I honestly don't know.
Chris doesn't watch movies very much anymore.
No,
No.
no, no, not unless they're worth it. And that's like Oppenheimer level. Like yeah, I'm glad that I saw that, you know. But like, I mean, especially with like Marvel movies aren't even worth watching anymore, dude.
Yeah, well, there's a couple coming out this year that might be good. So, wait, the Thunderbolts one and Captain America: New World Order comes out like
I think they changed the name
a
to
month from now.
Brave New World because they were,
Brave New World,
yeah,
Brave New World, New
they
World Order.
no, that's what it used to be called. They actually changed the name for like optics purposes, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Rosen Adams. And thanks for joining again. Super Dude 01 says, since there is all of these games being turned into movies like Until Dawn, what is a movie slash TV show that you want to be adapted to a video game? I want like a legit Resident Evil that's like based off the games that doesn't just shit the bed and has the budget
Wait.
and like is executed right.
Did he say a movie or TV show that he wants or that we want to turn into a game? Reread the question.
What is a movie show that you would want to be adapted? I it's a I don't know. I don't know if that's backwards or not.
Well, because
'Cause I don't have any movies or TV shows that I want to be games.
I mean, I don't know.
I think a Turok movie would be really cool.
Turok.
Yeah, you don't remember that where you're like in the jungle and there's dinosaurs. It's like Predator but with dinosaurs.
I feel like that exists, doesn't it?
No,
Well, I guess I don't know enough about the game.
I'm talking about like a rated RS like thing, not like Jurassic Park where it's PG-13 and
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a movie or show that would want to be turned into a game though, because I mean,
yeah, I don't have an answer for that. There's nothing that I can think of.
because well, I think most Star Wars movies and shows have already like been kind of done with like Battlefront and stuff like that. Although I guess it would be cool to have like
Okay, I got one.
a story based like Andor type game.
I got one.
What?
It would be cool to have a game where you're the blob and you're just like destroying a city, getting bigger, eating people.
I believe that's called Agar.io.
No, you know what I'm talking about. Like blob, man. Legit the blob. Like the IP.
Huh. I don't know that's a question where I'd have to think about it some more, but I think there's just not a lot of games or shows
Django would change
or
the game.
or oh god, no. No.
It'd be like Red Dead Redemption.
Well, I think the problem is it's like the games they a lot of time it's really easy to make a game that is based around a certain story, right? And have it be like tailored for gameplay, but it's really hard to take the story of a movie or TV show and put it into a game.
Quick. Sorry, finish your thought, and I have something to say.
I think that the storyline of the game has to be tailored around the gameplay and not the gameplay tailored around the story. Does that make sense?
I think so. I was gonna say G Fuel just restocked a bunch of cans, by the way, and so I got like 2 cases of watermelon limeade, 2 cases of dragon fruit. This is quite possibly my favorite 140 milligram can. It was originally described as a strawberry grape flavor, but to me it almost tastes like Wampa fruit without the mango. It's almost like apple. Really good.
Dude, I learned that strawberries used to taste better.
Apparently everything used to taste better, but they were also smaller.
Well, bananas like went extinct. Like
Yeah, real like original bananas. You can't get them. Yeah, they were like half the size though. They were small.
The Cavendish or whatever. Those went extinct, which is why banana candy used to taste, or sorry, banana candy used to be like the same flavor as regular bananas, right? now it's like, oh, this tastes like banana candy.
I
And it's
love,
like
dude.
that's what bananas used to taste like. Bananas taste
I
like
think
nothing now.
I think bananas are my favorite fruit, though. I don't know.
Really?
Apples are really good too, though. Oh, Chris froze.
No, I'm not frozen. What are you talking about?
You're frozen on my screen.
Oh,
Oh, you're back. It's
okay.
really blurry, but you're back. Am I
Uh,
blurry?
no.
That was weird.
Grapes are good.
I I do. Grapes are good, but I don't ever like. Watermelon is S tier. Bananas are S tier. I would say apples are A tier because I've had bad apples. Um, I've really my Bobby's been getting those like cutie tangerines lately that
Right.
you can just peel with your hands. If you get a good batch of them, they're really good. Like just eat an orange. Like it's refreshing. It's good for you. Lots of flavor.
Okay, I have a question. When you go to the store, if you get like grapes, are the bags open?
They have holes in them usually.
But like I literally went to the store a month ago to get grapes, and not just
Yeah,
grapes, but I was getting
I've
grapes,
seen them open.
and the bags were just open, and I was like, is this supposed to happen? But all of them were open, so I was like, this has to be
I
normal, but
mean,
I don't know why.
a lot of times when you buy fruit, they're just sitting there. Like fruit is usually in an open bag with holes in it, or it's just there and you
I
put it in a bag
I
yourself.
really
So
wonder why that's the case. Probably for like
I don't
freshness
know.
purposes. I don't know. I don't know,
But
but it freaked me
yeah, no,
out.
fruit is delicious. I love fruit.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. Nick Goldie, we went way off topic. Nick Goldie says, "Why do you think they make more G Fuel tub flavors than canned flavors?" Because that's what they started out doing. First of all, they started out making tubs. Cans are actually pretty new. Cans have only been around for
Yeah.
like what 4 years or something, and G Fuel's been around for like 10 years, almost. I think 11 years now.
I almost think it's been 3 years. If yeah, well,
Cans were already a thing when I signed with G Fuel. Put it that way,
yeah, but when did you sign with them?
like 2021.
Huh. Well, because I remember when they first started
But
putting them into stores. Is the thing.
yeah, and I don't know. G Fuel's going through a lot of changes because they have a new CEO. Cliff Morgan, the original CEO, I guess sold the company. So good for him. He probably made bank. But that so they're changing things, and I've noticed that just the whole vibe is a little different. Still a great company to work with. I just think, anytime there's a big change like that, there's some growing pains, and they stopped selling cans in like Walmart and stuff, which kind of sucks. But I don't know if that's because they're figuring out logistics, because I don't know if people realize how hard it is to ship cans and stuff. Like it is expensive, and like they got to be put on a truck and like driven to locations and then distributed. So it is. I think the reason you haven't seen any new can flavors is because they've been figuring that stuff out before they like I said, it was hard to find cans even online here until recently. They just restocked a bunch. I was like really sad that I couldn't get more watermelon limeade because it's my favorite flavor. Um, but you got to, like I said, it's a logistics thing. You got to think, if somebody buys a can and it costs, let's say it costs $1 to make a can and they sell it for 250, they're making $1.50. A G Fuel tub with 40 servings probably costs like $10 to make, but they're selling it for like 36. And that's not the numbers, by the way. I'm just throwing numbers out there. I don't know what the profit margins are. That seems kind of high. Like they're making
Yeah.
whatever. The point is, they make more money from tubs than they do from cans because it's like selling things in bulk. You know what I mean? It's like the reason why you can get a giant, like, I don't even know what they call them, but it's not family sized. I don't think it's party size. Costco sells Dorito bag sizes that are like twice the size or 3 times the size of a normal Doritos bag,
I didn't know that.
and it's only like $1 more than a normal size bag because they're selling it in bulk, which means there's less packaging. It's just logistically more cost efficient to sell stuff in bigger amounts, and so selling a 40 serving tub of G Fuel is more cost effective than selling a 12 pack of cans because a 12 pack of cans is heavy as shit. it's like 10 pounds or whatever, you know? Whereas a tub weighs like a pound. So it's a logistic cost efficiency kind of thing. I think that's the answer there, Nick. But again, they also started out doing tubs, and so that's, you know. And again, I just pulled those numbers out of my ass. I don't know how much it costs to make a G Fuel tub, but I mean, the fact that you can get 40 servings of an energy drink, it's not full of a bunch of bullshit. Or, I mean, with Code Danny D, I think it brings it down to like $28, and then shipping is usually like $6 to $8 depending on where you live in the U.S. International shipping's obviously more expensive, and that's just because they tax stuff internationally different. That doesn't have anything to do with G Fuel. That's just the way the world works. But I mean, it is much more cost effective as a consumer to buy a 40 serving tub of G Fuel than it is to get a 12 pack of cans. It's definitely like a convenience thing. I love how convenient it is to just pop open a can and drink it, but the amount of value you get out of a tub is just so much better, you know? So sometimes I like to treat myself,
Well,
you know?
so are they still gonna do 300 milligram yeah, 300 milligrams of
Yeah.
caffeine in some cans? Yeah, because
Yeah.
that was why I like the cans so much, because you got a lot more of a boost from those. So
Yeah. Your video is lagging on my end, just so you know. I don't know what it's gonna, hopefully because you're recording it on your end, it'll look
yeah,
fine
no,
though.
it looks fine on mine. I think it's literally just
Okay.
muted.
I mean, I have my internet thing here and it says it's normal connection, so
That sounds like it's more of a graphics issue than a like a hardware issue than like a internet issue.
why would it be a hardware issue?
Because I'm you're hearing my voice just fine. I'm hearing your voice just fine. So it's not uploading or downloading anything poorly, right? It's just that it's
Your
just when,
camera is just, it's blurry and skipping frames on my end.
yeah, no, like it looks normal on my end. So it's like it's not rendering stuff properly on yours. But I don't know. It looks fine. For me it looks fine.
Okay. I don't think it's a hardware issue. That doesn't make any sense. But anyways, I feel like if it was a hardware issue, I'd be having more issues than just that.
I don't know.
Moving
That's
on
what
to Tommy
manifests
Slay's
in real life.
question. If you had $10 million, would you spend it on pleasure or invest? I would definitely invest it.
If you put 100K in a high yield savings account, you get 5 grand a year. So imagine what you could do with what do you say, 10 mil?
Hmm.
Yeah. Say I'm just saying, like you could just live off of that if you put it in the bank.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it in one bank
So
account though. Don't do that. Put it in multiple, because
yeah, no, definitely split that up. I
it,
mean, I would invest in different things. You know what I mean? Like I would definitely like. I think paying off a house is an investment because it's worth something. You know, like you can use a house as collateral now. I would definitely invest in a film. Definitely invest into a savings account, like Chris said. Maybe even like, I mean, shit. You might as well just max out your Roth IRA every year, just cause
yeah.
it's tax-free money later on. Maybe like a high yield or a high-performing mutual fund would be good to invest in at that point. But yeah, basically invest. I would not. If somebody gave me $10 million, I would not be spending it on anything stupid. We basically have everything that we want or need right now, besides a house. So,
Yeah.
anyways, last question is from Nikki. If you could make your own Fit Butter flavor, what would it be and what would you name it? Ooh. I mean, it would definitely be like Danny D's something. I don't know what I would call it, but I'm trying to think. What would I put in my Fit Butters?
Ooh,
Really like
ooh,
Oreos.
Butterfingers.
Ooh, yeah, Butterfinger would be good, like a Butterfinger flavor. I was gonna say maybe like a Kit Kat flavor because I love Kit Kats. But
We're just
I don't know,
fat.
anything that's like maybe like a strawberry flavor. I don't think they have that yet. Something that's got like strawberries in it. That'd be good. Like a chocolate covered strawberry flavor. like I said, Danny D's chocolatey goodness or some bullshit, you know, like
Chocolatey goodness.
Fit Butter's butter. Just call it butter. Fit Butter's butter.
I
Danny
was,
D's butter.
I was,
Danny D's delectable juice or something.
I was gonna make some sort of play on words with Butterfinger, but you guys do with that what you will.
Fit Butter's fingers.
I'm not gonna say it, man. It's pretty bad.
Chocolate log. Danny D's chocolate log.
Dude, I found a mod for Fallout
Oh.
4 that changes the texture of toilets. There's just a giant turd in there.
Oh God.
And then there's another mod that makes toilets drinkable. So I was
People
like,
got way too much time on their hands.
it's so bad, man.
Anyways, thank you guys for your questions. They were all great.
Chocolate log.
Again, if you want to ask your questions, join the Patreon. It's as little as
And
$1, and you can
remember-
join our Discord for free.
We're gonna have Mr. Jorge on next week. So
Shit, I just hung out with him last night. I forgot to mention. I gotta give him a text,
so
make sure he knows. But
yeah, so have some questions for him as well. I think that'll be fun. He asked something about
yeah,
who's it that he likes? There's some singer that he likes, right?
Mila Kabila.
Yeah,
whatever her
so,
name
yeah, yeah. So
is. Yeah, he's not
have-
bad for her, man. On to our weekly gaming talk. I played Marvel Rivals with the Patreon members this morning, and Theo joined us too. It was a lot of fun. But as we talked about earlier, I've been playing some Black Ops 6 Zombies just to grind that Squid Game event and take advantage of all the double XP stuff. I'm also trying to finish my Battle Pass, but I don't think I'm gonna finish it in time. I'm at like 78%.
Seriously, dude?
But yeah, I've been putting a lot of time into filmmaking. You know, I've had a lot of auditions too. Auditions are like abnormally high for this time of year. Usually it's really like slow in January, but I've had like 2 or 3 auditions a week right now.
Well,
Oh.
I kind of forced myself to play it on the weekends just so I could get it out of the way, so I could just play it for fun instead. But so I did something kind of interesting. Okay, so I remember I was cleaning stuff out a while ago, and I was like, "Holy crap, this is my old Xbox One controller, right?" Well, I never really used this thing. I had this back when I would play Black Ops 3 all the time. This is a custom controller, okay? I was like, let's just see how it feels. So first I tried it out in Fallout 4. And I was like, oh man, like this is really cool. Like, when I shoot, like even modded guns, there's vibration on the controller. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then I was like, but I don't really know how I feel about using it in this game. Like I need a game that's more fast paced to really see if controller still feels good. And then Fallout 4 crashed, so I was like, all right, I'll go play Black Ops 6. So I tried playing multiplayer. I tried playing Stakeout 24/7 on controller, and I'm telling you, it was the worst
Awful.
experience I've ever had. Aim assist, it makes it harder for you to play the game. I was literally in the bathroom on the that side of Stakeout where like if you're in the bathroom, you're directly facing like where people come out from the balcony.
The spawn. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in that little bathroom and somebody ran past and I literally like I didn't even move my right joystick and my camera
And you can
just,
see it track
it
them,
just
yeah.
went. And I was like, what the? And so I'm trying to get kills with like sidearms, right? And I'm doing that, and every single time someone will run past and it would track. And I'm like, I can't react fast enough with that to actually get back. Like, it's not precise enough. I was like, dude, being on controller actually sucks. Like, I'm
Yeah,
so glad
I think
don't
it's
do that
bad
anymore.
for first-person shooters.
Yeah, like even for
Oh.
Fallout 4, it wasn't good. It feels very clunky,
Yeah.
and I get the point of controllers, but it's just like people are like, oh man, I can't learn mouse and keyboard. It's just too much. And it's like, dude, when you do, Your
Once
life
you
is
do,
changed.
it is
You
everything is
can't go
so
back.
easy, and you have so many. It almost feels like you have unlimited keybinds because you can just like bind
Yeah,
everything, you know. So
yeah,
yeah, mouse and keyboard is like even if I had to play on console, I think Xbox will let you do mouse and keyboard, so I would just do that.
yeah.
But uh, did you see the teasers for the new zombie map dropping on the 28th?
Yes, and
Which I'm excited about. That's quick. Like the gap between maps is not very big.
yes, and the reason why it is coming out so quickly, there's actually two reasons I think. One, I think the map was already like the layout was already made, so you can actually go. So I don't know if you're aware, but if you go on some of the multiplayer maps and you go out of bounds, you can you can see the rest of the map is loaded in. It's actually part of the Warzone map. That's what they did in Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2 as well. It's all part of the Warzone map. And someone found an area that matches an image from Citadel de Mor, right? And they're like, "Oh, this is the new map." And sure enough, yeah, they found the map. So the map already existed, right? They just have to add in the mechanics and the Easter eggs and stuff like that. But also the map is small. It's about the size of Liberty Falls. So
What, this new one?
yeah, so that's part of it. I am cautiously optimistic. I think I heard something about Mule Kick being added. Um,
Please.
and they said the Wonder Weapon is a weapon that has been seen before, but is being revamped to fit, the newer game. And there's two ideas for what it is, and I'm pretty sure one of them is the ice staff, or at least some of the stabs from Origins. The other idea was the Ray Gun Mark II. Um,
Okay.
I
I
would
like the Rig
like
and
it.
Mark too.
I would like it if both got added. That'd be really cool. Um, they are also probably going to add the MP40 in.
Yeah, but a new map every other month is pretty sweet. That means that by the time the game life cycle
They're going to be
ends,
eight
we should
maps.
have like what, 8 maps?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because there's six
it's pretty
seasons,
dope.
right? Yeah. So,
And
uh,
dude, I could actually see myself going back and playing these. Yeah,
oh,
so
and the nice thing about the way that they do this system of like the Wonder Fizz is that whenever they add in a new perk, you can go to the old maps and use the new perk, right?
Mhm.
So if Mule Kick does get added, you can go back to Liberty Falls or Terminus or Citadel more and have three weapons and a melee weapon.
um have you noticed that if you save your game when you go back and play it, it immediately spawns like an amalgam or something?
No?
That's what I've noticed on Citadel. It's really annoying.
Well, I noticed that um if you okay, this is a big thing. So today I was playing and I died in a really stupid way and I immediately just Alt F4 because I was like whatever. I hop back into Black Ops 6 and I go to start a new match and he goes, "Hey, you have a match that ended abruptly. Do you want to restart from the last save point?" I was like, "Sure." And it started me at the beginning of the round and I got to play the round again. And I died again. I Alt F4. I hop back on Black Ops 6 and it let me go back to the same round.
Cheat code.
So
Cheat
I
code.
I think I found a way to get to high rounds really easily. So um, I'm gonna try
Yeah.
that.
May
Oh, did you hear
I've got some stuff to do.
they're gonna do multiplayer pausing. So you can
Oh,
pause
that's dope.
matches in multiplayer now, is what I was hearing. I forgot to tell you that. Yeah,
It's so
it's
clutch,
super
man.
helpful,
I hope
man.
so. It's not a thing yet, but
No, it's supposed
it's
to be a
supposed to
season
be.
two thing. Yeah, that's my understanding.
Okay, that's pretty dope. I got some stuff to do after this. I got to make a goodbye TikTok and finish my Wolfman review, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But uh, if you want, Bobby's taking Theo to some birthday party thing that one of his classmates is having, so I'm gonna be chilling. The only other thing I have to do is work on my composer sheet, which is almost done, and then I'm going to go over my lines for an audition. It's dude, I have this audition right now that Okay, I want your input on this real quick. I know this is off topic, but I think we talked about Black Ops enough. But I was also going to say that I could hit up Shock and see if he wants to join us for some zombies. I think that'd be fun, and I've been meaning to talk to him because this has been a weird month for G Fuel, so I want to know
Yeah.
what how he's feeling. Um, shit, I totally lost my train of thought. I sidetracked myself. Son of a bitch. What was I gonna
Yeah, I
say?
think so. You were talking about Wolfman. You were talking
Oh,
about.
oh, I have an audition right now that's like 4 pages, right?
Uh,
And I have to be careful with how much details I give. But it takes place like the 1930s, okay? And I have it listed on my profile that my ethnicity is like I'm Caucasian and Hispanic, right?
right.
Because I'm a quarter Hispanic. The audition is supposed to be with a Mexican accent. And I'm like, whenever I have like a weird moral dilemma, I ask Chat GPT because it'll just like kind of logically give me an answer, that's like unbiased. Like, and it says that if I'm a quarter Hispanic, then there's no reason why I can't do it. But it's 4 pages of doing that. And I'm like, it is so much work like, I'm talking like full on paragraphs, man. And it is so much time to memorize it. And like, I have to do this Mexican accent, and I'm just like, and not only that, like, I go to a self tape studio usually
Uh huh.
for these auditions. So I have like a professional reader and everything's nice. When it's for a film like this, that guy's out of town till the day after this audition's due, which means Bobby has to read the other end of it, and like the baby might not stay quiet long enough for us to get through 4 pages. And so I'm like, do I decline this because I can't get it done, or should I like do it anyways because I'm a go-getter and I'll give anything a shot? Because I don't like declining things, but I don't know. I might have to like read the other lines, like, and record it, and then like have them play on like an iPad. So I'm basically gonna be like doing the scene by myself, but I have to do this Mexican accent. I'm just like,
Okay.
there's something about doing a Mexican accent that just doesn't feel right.
So, the like first instinct, like the immediate reaction, is I think with doing a Mexican accent, you'd have to get it just right, or else it comes across as like a little insulting, right?
I think I can do it right, but
I don't know. I just
it's definitely a weird one.
it's different for like, for example, like the guy that plays House, right? He's I think he's British or Australian or something like that, right? And so if he does an American accent, it's like, all right, like big whoop, right? But if he was
Yeah.
like doing like a Nigerian accent, it's like, whoa, okay, like, let's slow it down for a second. You probably shouldn't do that, right? Like, unless it's deliberate. Like, yeah, like I think the only person I've ever seen somebody, or only person I've ever seen pull off somebody else's accent that where it's like they're not the same ethnicity is uh, like when Robert Downey Jr. was and the whole point was this, like, you probably shouldn't do something like that in real life, right? And it's like, yes, while we are a quarter Mexican, like, I feel like without you very clearly like looking that ethnicity, it comes across as like kind of a morally gray area, right? So I don't know. I mean, like, there's plenty of people who are Hispanic where you couldn't even tell that they are, right? Myself included.
Yeah, I mean it's all the inflection. Like it's all the inflection and how I do it, and I'm just like, if it was like a short small part, I think I would be fine doing it, but I'm on the fence about it cuz I'm
I
just like,
the safe thing that I always tell myself whenever something like this happens is like, if you're unsure about it, there's a good chance you probably shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah.
if your first instinct is not, oh yeah, this is a good idea, it's probably not a good idea. You know? Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I would view it. I mean, like, yeah, there's definitely opportunity there, but I also really do think that it's a gray area, and I think when it starts getting gray, it's like, I'm gonna hold off on this.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I gotta talk to my manager about it. Be like, hey, I'm not really comfortable doing a Mexican accent for this much of material. Like, there's full on paragraphs, and I like looked up a YouTube video because I was like, okay, like, is there any like quick, easy tricks that would help me do it? And I mean, it's just it's very stereotypical the way that like people do these Mexican accents, and pull them off. And it's the 1930s, so it's a little clunky to begin with. But I don't know. It's just something about it where I'm just like, even
Yeah,
as somebody who's a quarter Hispanic, like I would feel wrong if I saw somebody doing that and they
yeah,
didn't really look Hispanic enough. So I
yeah,
don't know. ChatGPT was like, if you're a quarter Hispanic, there's no reason why you can't do it.
yeah. But at the same
Um,
time, I will also
but I'm just
say,
like,
so one thing I've learned about AI in my time using it is, like, if you ask it a question in a certain way, it will probably tell you what you want to hear, right? And so you almost have to ask the questions in an unbiased way where it's like, hey, like, at what point do you think that the percentage of someone's ethnicity prevents them from playing a role that is that ethnicity, right? And it could go like, oh, like anything past
I'm gonna ask it.
like anything under 25% is probably like kind of gray. But if it went like, oh, like if you're not at 50%, like that's a problem. Like if it tells you that, then you know. But if you ask it a specific number, you go, is this okay? They're kind of like, or you're kind of giving the AI like a reason to be like, no, I'll let it slide for you because we're friends, like it I don't know. I think it more often than not that it wants to give you the benefit of the doubt, which might not always be good. They give you a disclaimer like that for a reason, where it's like, yeah, the information it gives you might not always be accurate. Please go do your own research or stuff like that.
Okay, I'm asking you. I said, at what point is it a bad idea to do an accent for an audition if the person auditioning is only 25% of the
Nah, I still no. You don't want to give a
ethnicity?
figure.
Deciding whether to perform an accent for an audition, especially when you're only partially associated with ethnicity, depends on several factors. Authenticity and respect. If you can perform the accent authentically and respectfully, it can add depth to your audition. However, if the accent is forced or inaccurate, it could come off across as offensive or distracting. Consider your cultural connection to the ethnicity. If you have a strong connection or lived experience with the culture, your portrayal might feel more natural and authentic. Does the role require an accent? Yes. If the casting breakdown doesn't specify an accent, you might want to focus on other aspects. It does. Um, Casting directors may be looking for actors with closer ties. Some casting teams prioritize performance over ethnicity. Researching the project team can give insight. I looked, and it's like a huge casting director. I can't say who it is, but like, I don't know. I don't know if it'd be worse to decline it or worse to do a bad audition. You know what I mean?
I feel like it's worse
If
to do
the
a bad
accent feels
audition.
performative or exaggerated, it could harm your credibility and stand out in a negative way. Personal opinion, consider seeking guidance from your agent coach. If you're unsure about doing the accent, you could offer the perform the role both with without the accent, giving the casters choice to change. Yeah, I see. I just, it's a lot, man. Like I was like I was like falling asleep last night trying to memorize it because it's so much, and like I'm like, it's a lot to memorize, and I have to do a Mexican accent for the entire thing. I just don't think that's gonna come off authentic. So,
Wow. Okay. So I was
and
able to get an answer. Okay. So I asked, if someone is only a certain percentage of an ethnicity that the character they are playing is, at what percentage is it no longer socially acceptable to play that character? And it gave me this huge long diatribe about, like, oh, well, it's more about the cultural context and this and that. Then I went, okay, but if you had to give a percentage, what would it be? And it said, assigning a strict percentage to determine social accessibility is tricky and not universally applicable because identity is complex and contextual. However, if I had to suggest a number for the sake of discussion, at least 25%. It gave me the number. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. All right. It gave me a number. I am
Yeah.
nowhere in there did I ever give a number. So it figured it out on its own. That's all I'm
Yeah,
gonna say
but
about
being
that.
at the minimum just make me feel better.
Okay,
Like,
man. Well, like
yeah, no, I'm just saying I'm like, okay, cool. Like it still makes me feel like if I felt like I could do it comfortably, then it would be fine. But I just it to me it sounds offensive. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's just like probably not a good idea.
Now
But
it says uh it depends on factors like cultural connection. Does the actor have a lived experience, personal connection to the culture beyond ancestry? Intent of the project
so
is
the character is from Mexico but was raised in LA.
okay. And what were you? Not that. You weren't
Yeah,
raised in
but that
Mexico.
doesn't matter. There's plenty of people out there who are in this ethnicity that were raised in the United States who played
Yeah,
those characters. No
but
problem.
what I'm saying though is it's like you weren't we weren't raised in an environment that was like similar to
But
that, right?
auditions are make believe.
Well, yes, obviously, but it comes to a point where it's like, hey, like, can you relate to that character?
I think you can relate to any character in certain ways, but my dilemma is that I don't think I can confidently perform this part without being offensive without coaching.
I have a without coaching is a big part. So if someone's a writer and they are supposed to be writing a plot that involves like dialogue between siblings, would you trust them to write that dialogue if they don't have a sibling?
The writer?
Yeah, the writer. This is just an example.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, 100%.
You would trust the writer to write the dialogue for someone who has a sibling if they don't have a sibling.
Yes.
I would not.
Yes.
I've heard so many examples where someone
And that's
doesn't.
why you're not a writer.
What do you?
Writers don't put themselves in boxes.
But a lot of the time they don't do it right because they'll put dialogue where it's like, "Hey, bro,"
Dude,
"Hey, sis," and they
there
don't.
you know how many
Siblings don't talk
times
like
okay,
that, bro.
this is a very extreme example. This is for educational purposes. Do not take this the wrong way, but there are plenty of stories about like slavery and stuff that are written by like white people and you wouldn't know.
That's
That's just an
fair.
extreme example.
That is fair, but I guess what I'm saying is it's like it's very easy to do that wrong.
Correct, but usually when somebody does it wrong, the project never gets made. So
I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm just more
I
worried
think
about.
that I think that comes down to how good the writer is. Because, for example, okay, I could write. You think the guy who wrote? Okay, you think the guy who wrote? Let me see. What's a good example?
Titanic. Was he in the Titanic? No.
There's one. But I mean, like, the guy who wrote Anaconda. Okay, dude, it's not that funny. The guy who
Oh,
wrote Anaconda doesn't know what it's like to be chased by a giant fucking snake. Like, it's not. You know what I mean? Like, but you can always boil it down to its core things. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, let's say I don't have an older sister, right?
uh,
Maybe I have a younger sister. Okay, maybe I don't. Do I have a cousin? That would be the next closest thing, right? Or what is the relationship between like uh my mother and her brother if she has a brother? You can find ways to get perspective. You know what I mean? You can read books. You can watch YouTube videos. You can watch other movies that are similar topics. Like there's ways to gain the perspective you need to tell a story. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Your question was, can they authentically do it? I think if you do enough research, yes. It's just like me trying to write a legal drama and I don't know anything about the legal system. You can research it. It was just going to take me longer to write it.
Yeah, but I guess
But
the reason why I'm bringing it up though is because you mentioned like, okay, you're gonna need to be coached by someone, but if you don't have time to be coached, then you don't have the time to do that, as you put it for the writer, the research, right? So that would be my concern is can you make it authentic, the performance, if you don't have the time to build up
so
that
yeah,
research.
I think those are completely different situations. But like I said, I mean, it comes down to different factors. One, the amount of time I have to invest to do this audition doesn't seem like it's worth it, because the odds of me getting it are super low because of the fact that I don't think I could pull it off authentically either way. Two, if I need coaching just to do an audition, it's not worth the money that it takes to get the coaching. You know what I mean? Because like I'm already fighting an uphill battle.
Right.
And three, it comes down to the moral judgment of, you know, if I was the writer and I'm seeing them cast people and I saw some guy who doesn't really look Hispanic doing it, I would probably say, hey, that's probably not the best choice. You know what I mean? So, or as the director too, I'm definitely not going to choose somebody who doesn't, like, if two people are on the same, I always do this. If two people have the same level of performance, but one person actually looks like they were born in Mexico and one person obviously doesn't, I'm going to go with the person who looks more authentic.
It seems like we both are reaching the same conclusion of that you shouldn't do it. We just have different reasons for it.
Okay, but I have other people telling me, fuck it, just go for it. You know what I mean? Like, I've been asking other people and they're like, yeah, why not? You know, like but I'm like, I'm having trouble getting emotionally invested in it because it already feels wrong morally to me, and everybody's
like you've already made up
different.
your mind though. Like it sounds like you've already made up your
No,
mind.
I haven't. I mean, I confirmed the audition, but I have to I'm gonna have to talk to my manager and explain why, and then decline it. You know, but it's just declining auditions is never a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it makes it can look bad for your representation, and it also can like make a casting director go, well, okay, I'm not gonna give that person auditions if they're just gonna decline them. You know what I mean? But I think this situation is a little different because it's very specific about, like, this person was born in Mexico and raised in LA and they speak with a Mexican accent. It's like, that's a bit of a stretch for me, and I don't necessarily feel comfortable doing it. So, and I'm gonna tell my manager. I'll probably say that, you know, I've been going over the lines, working on the accent, giving it some thought, and the more I like invest into this, the more it feels wrong. So I'm not gonna do it. You know, and I think that's perfectly reasonable.
Okay.
If it said they were mixed ethnicity, that would be different. You know.
Yeah, I feel like we still reached the same conclusion that, like, you're probably not going to do it though.
You froze on me. I don't know what you said.
Oh, I said I feel like we've reached the same conclusion that, like, you're probably not going to do it.
Okay, I don't know why that has to, like, we
What?
can't discuss it though.
Well, no. I'm saying
Whatever.
Jesus,
Well, let's
bro.
move on. Anyways, I saw Wolfman last night, and I was disappointed. It was like really well made, but the story sucked.
What even is it? I don't understand what it is.
You never heard of Wolfman? Like, guy gets like attacked by a werewolf, and then he becomes a werewolf.
I mean, I've heard like that premise, but I don't. Is that all the movie is? Is it like a remake? What is it?
So yeah, it's like a new take on it.
And you just didn't like it?
I didn't not like it, but it was disappointing. I gave it 3 stars out of 5. So slightly above average. Like, it had like really cool sound design and like practical effects, but I didn't really care about the characters, and it didn't really have the emotional payoff that it seems like it was trying to. I think The Fly, it felt more like The Fly than it did Wolfman. Like, you see him like throughout the whole movie, he's like turning into the Wolfman. It was like he got infected and like is slowly changing. So it was like an interesting take on it, but like, wait for streaming is what I would say, because the story just wasn't like anything special.
Want from it though? That's the real question. Like
a good story.
well, what constitutes a good story is what I'm saying.
You care?
No, in this context, bro. Like what? Like,
yeah, I didn't care.
Because he just wasn't a good character.
It wasn't interesting.
Like, he just wasn't a.
The characters are flat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't believe that these two people were a couple because they just didn't really like have conversations like a couple. They had like cliche conversations, but I wasn't emotionally invested. So it was just like, oh, this is really cool and like looks cool and sounds cool, but kind of boring in terms of story. Oh.
I don't know. I mean, because
But if you like body horror, it's worth watching at some point. Just not. I wouldn't pay to go see it at the theater.
I feel like they don't
I saw it
really.
for 50 cents.
What
So
the heck? How do you see a movie for 50 cents? What would you go
I,
back in
I have
time?
Regal Unlimited.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
I have
about
Regal
that.
Unlimited.
Yeah. So you still have to pay for movies, it's just that it's like a reduced price.
Yeah, it's just the tax. It's like 53 cents or something.
Oh.
The ticket.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like I mean, when's the last time a werewolf movie has come out? Like Van Helsing? What was that like?
There was a Wolfman movie with Benicio del Toro in it from like I don't know, but it's been a while.
Like they yeah,
But
that's not because I feel like that's it's like vampires happen more often than freaking werewolves, which is really surprising. I feel like the concept of
yeah,
werewolves really
I'm honestly, man, like Nosferatu is a similar situation where like I think Nosferatu is an incredibly well made film, but story wise and character wise, I just didn't give a shit. Like there just wasn't anything for me to really like chew into story wise that made me feel like I was on a journey. It was just like, oh, things happened and the characters didn't really have like an effect on the plot. They just kind of experienced things, and it felt like no matter what certain characters did, there were this outcome was always expected, and that works for some stories. But for Nosferatu, I just and they never really had like a big showdown with Nosferatu, if that makes sense, which is kind of disappointing. But I mean, filmmaking wise is very unique. Whereas this was like not unique enough to justify the lack of quality storytelling. That makes sense?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I also am just like I guess without knowing what the actual plot is, I can't be like too judgmental because I mean, yeah, the idea of like going through that transformation does sound interesting. I mean, what was the one with was it Michael J. Fox? What was
Oh,
that?
Teen Wolf?
Yeah, Teen Wolf was actually like
That's a comedy.
yeah, I know, but like hey, you know what? Like that's a decent way of talking about that transformation, right? Because
Yeah,
it's a
it's
unique
unique.
scenario. I just don't like just there's ways you could do it where it's like this is an interesting concept. I mean like that's probably the thing that I think most movies don't really do right anymore is they don't find a way to take a foundation and then make it something unique. Does that make sense? Like you
Like
say it's a
it
vampire
was
movie.
it
Oh,
was
okay. Like that doesn't it's not unique.
it
But
was a it was a unique take on it, but like I said, the story was so flat that I just
well,
ultimately didn't leave satisfied.
flat as in like it just wasn't interesting or like I don't understand.
Yeah,
I guess I'm just having a hard time understanding
it just played things way too safe,
mm, I don't know.
predictable.
And I see
Characters also made some stupid choices.
I see you also mentioned David Lynch passed away. I saw that.
Yeah, so I had only seen half of David Lynch's movie Dune from like 1984, which is like basically he tried to do Dune Part 1 and 2 crammed into one movie, and so it's just like a mess and really weird. But I had never seen any of his other movies, so I watched his first film the other night, which is called Eraserhead, and it was one of the most bizarre ass fucking movies I've ever seen. I would not recommend to anybody who's not into like weird stuff. It doesn't really follow like typical logic of time and stuff. Like it just kind of jumps around scene to scene, but it lingers a lot on stuff, and you're just like, but why are we still looking at the dresser? You know what I mean? But it's basically like this horror fantasy like nightmare type movie where this guy finds out that his girlfriend the reason why he hasn't seen her in a long time is because he got her pregnant and she had the baby, and the baby was born prematurely, and it's just like this monster looking thing, and she's just like, I can't take it anymore, I'm leaving you. And like, so he's got like this deformed looking baby, and the whole movie is just like a fever dream. Like he's trying to sleep and the baby starts crying and he's just like, oh, shut up. And it was really weird, man. I don't know how to describe it. It was very fascinating from a filmmaking standpoint because it cost like $100,000 to make in 1977, which is like $500,000 today. But it looked like it could have been made today because of how well shot it was, and the sound design was incredible. But it was not, like, I did not enjoy it. Like from a story standpoint, it didn't really feel like it had a story. And
I was just seeing where people were talking about like Twin Peaks and like Blue Velvet, and
yeah, I haven't gotten to Blue Velvet, and Mulholland Drive is considered like his most like accessible film, like a normal audience could get something out of it. But it seems like his movies are just like he just throws ideas at the walls, but he executes them in such a way that it feels genius. Like really well made, but definitely not everybody's cup of tea. Like he's got really diehard fans who are just like, there's nothing else like it. I've never seen anything like it, and for a first film, it was very impressive how he executed it. But god damn, what a weird, bizarre, gross movie. Like the body horror and stuff in it was like it starts out and he goes to like see his girlfriend, right? And finds out about the baby and everything like that. And then they sit down to have dinner, and the dad's talking about how like he got these, like there's these new little chickens that they got, right? And so he goes to like he's like, do I just cut it like a normal chicken? And he's like, yeah. And he goes and he cuts the chicken, and it starts moving and bleeding. And it's like, what the fuck is it? It's so disturbing. So disturbing. But just bizarre, man.
What
Like I
the-
said, it felt like a nightmare. It feels like you're watching a nightmare. And the ending is really messed up. But yeah, he's got 9 films outside of Twin Peaks, and I watched one of them, and I'm already like, what the hell did I get myself into? But I'm going to watch all of them because he just passed away. So out of respect, I feel like it's a good time to experience his catalog of movies. I've been putting it off. Another person that I've put off watching is Alfred Hitchcock. Because
He's the
he's
guy
got
that-
so many movies that people say are like amazing.
He's the guy that used chocolate syrup to mimic blood.
Yeah, because in
what I
black and
know.
white,
Yeah, it pops.
it's really clever.
Yeah, that's
It kind of looked like they might have done that for this too, because it was black and white. But
oh.
so yeah, David Lynch, what a interesting filmmaker. But I mean, as a filmmaker, watching his interviews, he was such a like didn't give a fuck kind of guy. Like I saw an interview and they were like, you say that this is your most spiritual film. Can you elaborate on that? And he's just like, no. He's like, no. So I saw behind the scenes clip, and the assistant director was like, David, we're running behind on this shot. Do you think we can like maybe trim down the next one? And he goes, no. Fucking A, man. He's like, who gives a fuck how long the scene is? Jesus Christ, he's like just pissed. Like, but like after watching Eraserhead, I'm like this movie could have been an hour flat if it had trimmed down like every shot to not linger for so uncomfortably long. Like it's like purposely unnerving in the sense that everything in the movie from start to finish feels off.
Yeah.
On purpose. Like for example, the guy in his apartment, instead of having like a normal potted plant, it's just like a fucking dirt mound on his on his dresser with like a twig in it, and it's just like, what the hell? Like it starts out and he's like walking to meet his girlfriend, right? And he walks through like this like dirt lot, and it's like showing that like they live in like an old industrial city, and he's like walking, and there's like the whole field is just like it looks like dirt and mud, and there's one little puddle, and of course this motherfucker steps right in the little puddle, and like just and then he's like, oh like, and then he comes home, right? And it's like he you can tell he's taking his shoe off because he stepped in that puddle and like his sock is wet, but he takes off the other shoe and sock and puts the sock on the heater to dry, and it's just like this director's fucking with me like on purpose, is just trying to piss me off and unnerve me. Like everything just feels off and wrong, which is really interesting. Like it was an interesting film, but it's like purposely off-putting to the point where I was like, I didn't like it, but I respect the hell out of it, and I've never seen anything like it. So I gave it 3 stars because it was impressive and pretty genius. And it had one scene where he cheats on his girlfriend with the neighbor, and it had this little moment where the score it barely has any score, but there was score, and it had this like dreamlikeness to it. And I was like, yo, this one scene is hitting, but it was the only scene in the whole movie that I felt that way. Everything else I was just like, fuck this movie. It's so gross and weird. And I'm really curious to see what his other movies are like, because that was what he was able to do with no budget, basically.
Yeah, well,
You know?
I think the concept of like being calculated in like, making people uncomfortable, like
That's a talent. Yeah.
because like there's you'll see like TikTokers who do that, and it's like it'll be somebody. Oh, it's
Like
like that one
Jack's
guy.
Flame.
Well, there's like one dude who it was supposed to be like YouTube Shorts users be like, and he's it's like months after like the Ohio stuff happened, and he's laughing at the Ohio meme, and he's like eating chips, and like as he's laughing, he farts like super loud, right?
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Every one of his videos ends with him farting.
Yeah, it's like that guy, and it's like every time that I watch him, I'm like, I gotta just scroll away from this. It's like I get the appeal of it. It's like,
Oh, I
cringe
like
equals
this stuff.
funny, but it's the exact same
I
thing.
saw an outtake where he like broke character, and
Yeah,
I was
I've
like,
seen-
okay, this guy, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the compilation.
Interesting.
There's like 4 or 5 videos that are like that, but it's the same.
I saw him
thing.
crying in his car about the TikTok ban. He was like, and like, he's like,
actually
and
crying?
then it's like, what's wrong? And yeah, like, well, he's faking it for
Okay.
the video, but like, the girlfriend's like, why are you like, what's wrong? And he's like, are you kidding me right now? TikTok's getting banned. He's like, my wife is ruined, and then he's just like, ah!
Yeah, but that guy, yeah, like his videos are so gross to watch, and it's like
But I'm like, how does he do the fart noise like so well? Because like it's like it's so funny every time the farts happen.
And it's
And
always-
I'm like, how does he do it?
it's usually a different sound every time, right? Like
It doesn't sound like you're just doing it with your mouth. It's the weird thing, you know? Like it sounds like he's using something. Like
whoopee
I don't think
cushion.
it's a whoopee cushion. I don't know, because it doesn't have like a whoopee cushion sound. But like, and every time it's different.
Because it does sound fart like. It's not just like air leaving a.
It doesn't sound like he's just doing a voiceover thing with his phone either. Like in TikTok, you can add voiceover. It seems like he does it on his computer or something, but I mean, he just doesn't miss with those videos. Like every single one blows up because he's just like so good at doing this cringy, like very self-aware thing.
Yeah, and
you know?
I think that's the part that's like so.
I would love to put him in a movie if it was the right character kind of thing.
like
you know?
someone who is just like supposed to make you uncomfortable. Yeah, like
It reminds me of like the guy in Office Space who's just like my stapler in my, you know what I mean? But it's like that, but like it's like the fucking guy from Benchwarmers who like hasn't left the house in like 10 years.
who eats sunblock.
He's like Howie, where he's just like he's wearing like a crop top because he's outgrown his shirts, but he still wears the same shit. He's always wearing a Fortnite like. It's like a Fortnite dry fit shirt, so it's skin tight and his belly's showing. You know what I'm talking about? Like, oh, yeah. I think his name is called like Hepatitis 4 or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, it is something like that. I do remember.
4 or something.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. Like I said, it's having that ability to like do that in a calculated way is like an actual talent. Yeah. Like
So.
Yeah. And the fact that he's not
that's David Lynch.
the fact that guy's not like embarrassed by that. It's like God, I don't. How do you
That's
get
the
that?
other thing that I don't. Anytime somebody like makes fun of me on TikTok and says like, "Oh, like, bro, this is like this and that," I'm like,
Put the fries
okay.
in the
Then I'm
bag.
like, yeah, or something, and it's like, okay, like, show me that you can do something better. But you get stuck at the fact that you're too embarrassed to even be on camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like people don't realize that in order to go viral doing that kind of stuff, not only do you have to be good at it, but you also have to like be willing to embarrass yourself on that level. Excuse me. So
Yeah.
it's just like, I don't know. It's something where even if somebody's doing some dumb content like that, you got to respect it to a degree. You know.
I mean, even
Um.
Jordy with the Sonic stuff, like
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that.
just seeing him like do his for Marvel Rivals, he was like doing body
Yeah.
paint to
Yeah.
look like every character, and I'm just like, bro, the amount of work and like how like, yeah, like you got to respect the effort people go through, and yeah. So that's how I felt about this. I was like, I didn't like the movie. I couldn't recommend it to a general audience, but like very like I've literally never seen anything like it, and anything I've seen in that realm is usually like not executed well enough to justify like making it. Like it's just like you can tell they're trying too hard to like pull something off that they're not 100% committed to. Almost like they're embarrassed to mess it up. Whereas this guy's just like he has a vision and he executes it to a T, and you're either on board or you're not. And
Yeah.
like I said, the ending was like very cryptic in its execution, but like right away I knew what was going on. And I was like, what an interesting way to do that. You know? Like I'm reading this book right now called Directing on Directing Film.
Yeah.
Like this guy on Directing Film. And he talks about how at its core filmmaking is a sequence of shots that subconsciously good filmmaking is being able to take a sequence of shots and convey a message without directly stating it. So like let's say instead of a guy going, I'm late for school, you show a shot of the alarm clock going off, or the alarm clock going off and getting snoozed, and then like another shot where all of a sudden it's like the character like sits out of bed and is like, oh shit. And it like doesn't say that, but you could tell they're like thinking that, and then they're rushing to get ready and running out the door. That gets the same message across, except one does it in a way that's interesting without trying to be interesting, and the other one is doing it in a way where it's like lazy, in a lazy
Yeah.
way, getting the point
Well, because
across,
part
you
of
know.
it
And
is like,
so
if that actually happened to you in real life, you're gonna go, "I'm late" out loud, or are you gonna be like, "Oh," and you start like doing everything to get out of the door as quick as possible? Like, no person in real life actually sits up and goes, "Oh no, I'm late. I gotta go now."
yeah,
Like they see the clock and they freak out. They don't even get in the shower. They just put some clothes on, get out the door as fast as they can. They speed like 20 miles over the speed limit trying to get to work. Like that's what happens. And you would never have that moment of the guy saying that in real life, so you shouldn't have that in the film either. That just doesn't. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah, I think that when people say what makes a what is bad filmmaking, I think it comes down to a lot of things, but the core principle of showing
Not
or
telling.
telling instead of showing, you know, like
Oh
that
yeah,
to me is bad filmmaking.
yeah.
Because like what's the point of me if you're gonna do it that way, why not just write a book? You know what I mean? Like if you're just gonna tell the audience everything and tell them what the character's thinking and
Yeah,
all that stuff.
I think the only time that you can ever get away with something like where you're like telling it, why am I so like my camera is so bright? What is happening? Like look,
I
they
don't
can't even
know.
see
Your
the
shit's been freaking out the whole time. The
I was gonna say the only time you
the
could
other
ever get away with that is if it's like a kid's show or something like that. That's the only time you could ever get
yeah,
away with
or it's
that.
on purpose. Like it has to
Yeah.
be self-aware, like a comedy. But like I mean, like Tommy Wiseau's The Room. That's a great example. You know the oh hi Mark.
Well, hi Mark.
That guy. There are books, and I mean, there's the movie The Disaster Artist. Everything shows that guy thought he was making something great, And when the movie came out and everybody reacted to it the way they did, where they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is so bad, it's good," he played it off like it was on purpose. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And so it's like, if you're not self-aware, like it's just it's a different situation. And this guy is very aware of what he's doing. And so it's like I said, it's just one of those things where I think in my letterbox review, because I've been, for certain things, I've been really breaking down how I feel about it. And I said that I can't necessarily, like, as an audience member, I was, I can't remember exactly the word I used, but as an audience member, I was like, what the hell am I watching? As a filmmaker, I was fascinated. You know what I mean? Because like I thought there was definitely some stuff to learn from that, because at the end of the day, it achieved an atmosphere that I've never experienced. And the best way I could describe it is it was like a fever dream if it was a nightmare. Like 100% a nightmare. Like the whole thing is just like, ugh.
You know what okay, random thing, but like an actual fever dream that is a nightmare is the crap that happens when you take that malaria medication. You've never heard
You
that?
take a malaria medication?
No, no, but I've heard stories, but like apparently it's an actual, like, I think they talked about it on Joe Rogan a few times too. It's like a known symptom that if you take there's a certain malaria medication that makes you have like the strangest nightmares. Like I heard one guy was talking about he kept having the same dream of a bear chasing him, and he would start climbing up the tree, and the bear would climb up the tree too. And then as soon as he was about to be eaten by the bear, he would wake up. He'd be like, "Oh, okay, I'm going back to
Yeah.
bed," and then you'd be right back in that same dream, getting chased by the bear again.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I've had dreams when I was sick where, for example, and I literally, like I said, it's called a fever dream because it usually happens when like you literally have a fever.
yeah,
Like your whole body is just like in
the
this like weird state
sense
of
of
like
impending doom. Yeah,
everything is off. Yeah. And I'll have these dreams where I'm being chased by somebody who's got a knife or something, and I get a gun, but then when I go to shoot them, I pull the trigger and the gun doesn't work, or I can't pull the trigger no matter how hard I try to squeeze it. And you know what I think that is? I think it's because it's ingrained in my brain that you don't pull the trigger unless it's the safety mechanism in your head that keeps you from just like picking up a gun and start shooting all over the place, you know? It's like your core like memory is like it's ingrained to the point where in your dream it's like, oh, I can't do that,
well,
you know?
so for me, I the whole laser gun thing, right? I've had dreams where stuff's been going down, and I'm like, dude, I gotta defend myself. All I have is the laser guns, though. I don't own a gun, and so I go to use it, and I point it at their face, like right in their eyes. 'Cause the whole point is it's supposed to blind them, right? And it doesn't work. Like
Yeah.
I have
Well, I
one.
mean, like I said, and
What? What do you think it's like that
like I
safety
said, like
mechanism?
yeah, like the idea that like your brain knows like, oh, you're not supposed to do this. This is dangerous. Like this equals death. Like in
I
your dream, your brain won't let it happen.
I think for me, I think it's not that. I think it's like, I think if anything, it stems from a place of anxiety of like me trying to use that one day and it just not working. Like the idea doesn't work, right? Or because it's like the whole
Yeah,
point.
I mean, I've
For you, it's probably different in your situation, right? I think for me, it's like because that's the purpose of me like making that thing is it's like it's literally like I instead of having to buy a gun, right? I made that thing for like $100. If something happens, I could use that,
yeah.
you
Well,
know?
I had a reoccurring dream for a while, and I think this is due to like some PTSD and stuff. So I don't want to get into it too much. And we also need to wrap up the episode. But
Yeah,
I mean, in the Coast Guard, we were trained that if we crashed into the water, right, the helicopter is going to at some point flip upside
yeah,
down because it's top heavy. And so you're supposed to wait for all violent motion to stop. And then you have to cut your seatbelts, right? You have a seatbelt cutter that you're supposed to use if it won't, like,
unbuckle.
work right. Yeah, and then you're supposed to always have a reference point so your body doesn't flip over because your lungs are at the top of your body, so your body wants to flip, and then everything would be upside down. So as long as you stay upside down, everything in the helicopter is right side up, which makes it easier to stay oriented and safely egress the
Yeah,
helicopter. And so in my dream, what kept happening would be we crashed into the water and my seatbelt wouldn't work, and then my seatbelt cutter would be missing or would be too dull to cut through, and it wouldn't cut through, and I would drown and wake up. Right? I've had dreams like that. I've had dreams where I'm in boot camp again, but like it's like somebody's messing with me. Like every time I need to get something for a specific thing that we're told to do, it's gone. Like why can't I find my running shoes, or why can't I find that uniform item or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, they say dreams are supposed to be telling you something. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to be like? What, I'm unprepared?
Well,
What am I unprepared for?
I think it's also supposed to be a way for your brain to like prepare you for situations, right? And when you go through certain things, like for example, when people have dreams about, oh man, I showed up to school in my underwear, right? It's things of like what?
Yeah.
What are you saying? Like
That sounds like I've never once in my life had a dream
Yes,
where I
but
was in my underwear or
saying-
naked or
I'm
something
s-
like that of
Well,
everybody.
I've had dreams where
So weird.
I've showed up to school in pajamas. That's like the most that I've ever had. But like the whole point of it, what?
You're just in pajamas.
Yeah, well,
Like you're just like, what's up?
well, but the thing is, it's like, okay, well, what does that tell me? It's telling me like, hey, like when I come to school, I need to be prepared, right? But then it's like, why is that dream happening outside of school? And it's because I was in school for, I mean, I guess probably what, like 16 years, because high school, middle school, elementary school, and college, right? So, you're in school for that long, your brain goes, oh, this must be an important thing. This is going to happen for a long time, right? And even though I've been out of school for several years, I still worry about it, right? Like my brain still thinks this is an important thing. You need to remember this, right?
Well, I know that when I was in school growing up, and I was stressing about a test or like a final exam, I would sometimes have like a nightmare where I show up to do the test, and then when they tell us, all right, now begin, I look at the test and it's just gibberish, and it's like I don't understand it. How am I gonna do this? How do I pick an answer? I don't know what the fuck it's gibberish. You know, like,
Oh, have you ever had that dream where you show up to school for the first day of the year and they give you your schedule and stuff like that, and you can't find the classroom? Like I've had
no,
that.
have you?
What?
Have you ever did you ever wake up, because this definitely happened to me at least once or twice. Did you ever wake up and it's a weekend and you think you have school?
Oh, dude, that happens to me now. I think I wake up and I think I have work, and then I don't.
Yeah, no, ask mom. I bet you she literally can recall this. Like there, or she might be listening. But I vaguely remember, and maybe this is just a dream or something, but I swear I've woken up before and it was like, oh, like I'm late for school, mom, and like starting to get ready, and like rushing to shower and get ready, and then she's like, like it's Saturday or it's Sunday.
I
Like
think I do
you,
remember hearing
you're
that,
you,
yeah.
whatever I was, yeah,
Well,
yeah. Dreams are weird, man.
dude, did I tell you at one time I think this is either like this past week or the week before that. I wake up and I was thinking about finances, right? And I was thinking, okay, well, if I make this much, I'll have this much by the time, like, or by this time next year, blah, blah, blah. And I was doing all the math in my head this one day as if I was 24. And I'm 23, right? So I'm like in the shower thinking about this, and then as I'm driving to work, mind you, it's like 12:45 in the morning, right? I'm driving to work, and my brain just clicks and goes, "Dude, you're 23," and I'm like, "Oh, I was like, holy crap! I just got a year of my life back, dude." I was like, like my brain just like it was like it wasn't working for the first hour of my day, and then it started working, and then it was like after that my mood was like way better. Like it was crazy. I had actually thought that I was a year older than I am, and so all of my math had been shifted as if I had less time, and it was really messing with me. And as soon as I realized, I was like, okay, everything's gonna be all right, But like weird things like that, where when you're sleeping, like your brain will just turn certain switches off, or like turn certain dials, and it just things are just
Yeah.
weird.
Well, I mean, I've heard crazy stories about people who like wake up from a coma and they're just like totally discombobulated because they like lived another life.
Who
You heard
was
of
it
that?
that? Who was it on Joe Rogan that said that happened when they did DMT?
I don't know, probably one of his crazy friends. But yeah, no, I've heard of that too. Where it's like, dude, I had a family and shit. Like it's like,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
you just like all of a sudden snapped out of it.
because
It's
I
like
think
Inception.
the one that I had heard was somebody was in a coma, and um they they had they had a whole thing where like they ended up going to college, and then they finished their degree, and they had a wife, and I think like a couple kids. And then one day they came home from work, and like the lampshade just looked weird. Like it just looked off. Like the shadows weren't right. And he's just like, why does that look weird? Why does that look wrong? And then soon enough, everything just starts to be off. And then he wakes up, and he's in the hospital, and they're like, "Hey, you were in a car accident, this and that." And I think he said for like the first few months, he was like just angry. Like it wasn't even like a matter of like, "Oh, I'm confused." It was like he was mad because he had this whole life and it was taken away from him. And now he's back to where he was at before, and he has to relearn how to walk and stuff like that. Like everything has changed.
Yeah.
Now, it would be
Yeah, I
awesome
don't
if he was like,
dreams
"Yeah, I found
are
out Bitcoin's gonna be at 100K and it's 2016." I would be like, "All right, cool, man," but like nothing like that happened in there. It's just he just lost his life.
it's crazy that your brain can do that so well. Like dreams can feel so real.
Yeah.
And then you wake up and they're just like gone in an instant. Like I've read that like it can be really good to like have a dream journal and like actually like as soon as you wake up like write down what happened in your dream because it's like it can be useful. Like I said, you can figure out like you can problem solve with it and stuff, you know?
Well, the
'Cause
problem
you
that
usually dream about stuff that's going on in your life.
the problem I have sometimes like, there will be like music that plays in my dream, and it's like a song that my brain made up, and I'm like that was kind of a jammer, dude. Like that was pretty good. And but then it's like I don't know enough about music to go and recreate it, and so that song's gone forever. Like that's an awful thing to think
Yeah.
about. Like my brain
I'm
made
sure
music.
musicians deal with that.
Yeah, except they can actually use it, you know? But
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways,
Anyways, rest in
recommendation time.
peace, David Lynch. Yeah,
Yes.
David Lynch definitely somebody who deserves to have his work visited. If you haven't, just be prepared for some bizarre. Literally, like this movie, Eraserhead, is one of the most bizarre films I ever watched in my entire life. But I'm glad I watched it. I don't think I'll ever watch it again, but it was definitely worth watching to experience at least once. I hope I like his other films more because it seems like Mulholland Drive and Blue Velvet are really popular. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, on to our recommendations for the week. I saw Better Man in an empty theater by myself. I made a TikTok about it, and
Who was that about?
this guy Robbie Williams, he was like a really big pop star in the 90s in the UK. I knew nothing about him, but the movie was phenomenally executed. Like everybody was talking about, well, why do I want to see a movie about a guy that I never heard of and he's played by a CGI monkey? If you watch the movie, it definitely wouldn't have been this. It wouldn't have been the same if it wasn't a CGI monkey, 100%. So
Oh,
definitely check it out.
I think he said his reasoning for because it was made by him, right? Like he was the one that actually chose to like have the story told, right?
Yeah, it was his choice. Yeah.
So I think he said the reason
Um,
why he did it was because it's a lot easier to um like connect with like an animal than a person because we feel bad for animals.
I don't. That's not what I got from it. From what I got out of it was that like there was things that it showed. Like basically the whole movie, he's struggling with like drug addiction, self doubt, imposter syndrome, um, and it's all like he'll literally be doing a performance, and all of a sudden he sees like an older version of himself in the crowd, just being like, "You piece of shit," like just give up,
But
And
is
it's
it
like
an older monkey?
no,
Oh.
it's like a past version of himself that you've seen before in the movie. Like it's
But
wearing an outfit or
it's a
something, or
monkey.
his hair's dyed. Yeah, the whole
Okay.
time.
Okay.
And I don't think the movie would have been as effective if it wasn't a monkey. I just think it was not marketed well. They should have literally had him like on screen saying, "This is my life, and it's so fucked up that the only way that I felt we could accurately present it to you is by this, and then he snaps his fingers and he's a monkey. Like
Yeah.
that would have been the way to do it. Instead, they were just like,
Here's a monkey.
this monkey is Robbie Williams, and he's like, who's Robbie Williams?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know who that was. But it really good movie. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I liked it more than the Bob Dylan movie, and the Bob Dylan movie was awesome. So definitely check that out at some point. It did not deserve to make only $1 million on a $110 million budget. It's really, really unfortunate. I finished Silo season 2 last night. Silo is amazing. Apple is just really good at doing these high budget shows, and it lived up to the first season 100%. And it ended with what in the like a WTF moment. Severance is back. I don't know if you've heard of that one. That one's awesome.
Yeah.
You heard of that?
I don't have Apple TV, so.
Such a genius concept. So I'm excited to watch that. But anyways, Better Man and Silo. Those are my recommendations. A movie and a TV show.
So my recommendation actually comes from somebody at work who told me, because we were talking about the whole thing of where like the Nazis went to Argentina, and he's like,
Yeah.
he's like, like Hitler had like a replica of his Switzerland home in Argentina, right? And I was like, well, how do you know that? Like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, there's this show called Expedition Unknown where like he actually like this guy went to where the house was, and there's like bunkers everywhere, and it's like out in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, what the and so he said it was on Disney Plus, but I saw that it was actually on Amazon Prime Video. It's if you have Prime, it's free. But
Is that the guy? Is it the same guy who did Destination Truth?
I don't know. The guy looked familiar, but I didn't I thought I had made the connection. But so the thing that's interesting
Yep,
is
same guy.
yeah. So the thing that's interesting is he did
Josh Gates.
yeah, he did one where it was supposed to be like the place where Jesus was buried, right? And
Dude, that is a rabbit hole.
yeah, dude, like I was like they went and found the place a long time ago, and they marked it. And then some other people were like, "Hey, we heard that Jesus is buried in this spot. Go double check." And they go and find it, and then they mark it. And then someone else was like, "Hey, go find out where Jesus was buried." Oh, we found it. And then they built a freaking like temple on top of it. And so there's spot where like no one ever really goes into, but they'll uncover it every once in a while, just go and be like, "Yep, this is the place," right? And it's like, yeah, like it's people have agreed this is the place, and it's like
Well,
it's like almost a cave down there, dude.
You
It's weird.
watch the Mel Gibson episode of Joe Rogan that just happened, because they went into detail about this, and they talked about it a lot, and so it was really interesting to go down that rabbit hole. But they found this this like material that he was supposedly wrapped in,
Uh-huh.
right? And I mean, they like flattened it and like showed, and it you can see the different spots where it looks like he's was crucified, right, through
Yeah.
the different, with the nails to the whatever, you get what I mean. And the material has been carbon dated, and it matches up with the time that it would have happened. And then the other crazy thing is that like the silhouette that's on it, they said that the only way that silhouette would be on the material is by some kind of really intense bright light that would have gave off enough radiation to do it, which is crazy to think about.
And so the thing that I will say is, and okay, so I took Ape World History in freshman year of high school, and
Hated that class.
awful class, but
So boring.
I feel like I did learn some stuff from it. So they give you this big thick book,
Yeah.
and I remember the thing that was the most interesting to me is in the book they literally go, yeah, as far as we know, Jesus was a real dude, and I was like, oh, I never made the connection that yes, and this is what like Judaism states is, yes, Jesus was a real dude, but the difference between like Judaism and Christianity is in Christianity they're saying, yeah, that was the son of God, but in Judaism they're like, yeah, he was a real dude, but he was a fraud. That's the difference. So
Yeah,
everyone
there's so
acknowledges
many
he was a
theories,
real dude.
man.
So yeah, it's that's what's really crazy. Like, yeah, he was a real guy. Like, and
Yeah.
they're trying to find examples of signatures from him because if you found that, like, that's crazy. Like
Yeah. I mean,
that's yeah.
I would say my final thought about that whole topic is that if you're no matter what your belief is, I think it's something that's so significant and important to our society as a whole that it's worth learning about. You know what I mean? Like you should know like what evidence there is and isn't, and what the debates are and all that stuff, because it's just it makes for good conversation, but it's also just like why wouldn't you want to know what evidence we have and stuff like that? Like I think it's I mean we're talking about something that has so significantly impacted like our way of living that like I mean there's all the different interpretations of it across all different cultures, and I mean it's just like I said, it's a deep rabbit hole that you can go down that just the farther you get the more interesting it is in my opinion.
Well,
But
on
yeah,
that on that note, you know,
crazy.
like they actually say like the you know how they talk about the flood in the Bible. There's
Mhm.
like it's been agreed upon in multiple religions that yeah, like a flood happened. Like that's another
Mhm.
thing that's crazy to me. It's like there was a point where a flood happened. Everyone's like, yeah, it wiped out everything. Like everything was just gone
Yeah.
because of this flood. And it's like, what happened, bro? Like what what was going on back then, man?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
But I
crazy
mean,
stuff, man.
whenever you look at that stuff, it really puts into perspective how little time you spend like live on Earth. You know,
Yeah.
like if the average person lives to be 75, like that's so
Well,
insignificant compared to like all the stuff that's happened. You know,
I just had a crazy thought. How much of the Earth's water do you think is in the sky right now? Like in the clouds?
in the sky, I don't know, but I saw a trivia question at Buffalo Wild Wings last night. Did you know that 0.2% of the world's fresh water is in the Great Lakes?
Oh wow. Huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice useless fact.
Well, but what I guess what I'm asking is like, do you think there's a chance that if you took all of the clouds that are in the sky right now, that it would be enough to cause a flood like that?
Um, I think it would take the right like weather climate to make it.
Like if all those clouds just
Not
went,
right now, no, no.
okay,
But I remember seeing somebody explain that if you took the weight of an average cloud, it would be like 10 tons or some shit. Isn't that crazy to think that there's just like 10 tons of oysters sitting in the sky under you, like at any given point,
yeah,
or above you? I mean,
above you, yeah. Well, and that's why like when there's fog, it's like that's you're in a cloud. That's what that is. You're in a cloud. It's just on the ground.
yeah, just like a really dense, huge cloud. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, but
Anyways, this is a really long episode.
kind of a slow
I
burner.
hope TikTok is still a thing next week.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to say about that is that no matter where you watch my content, or whether you're some weird anomaly that only knows of us because of this podcast, like whatever way you know of us and watch us and consume the content, thank you. The one thing that this whole situation with TikTok has made me realize is that it all boils down to everything happens for a reason. I believe everything happens a specific way. There's so many times in my life where I can go, wow, if this little thing didn't happen, this wouldn't have happened. And the fact that I I am fortunate enough to make content for a living in one shape or another, and people watch it, and people care enough to subscribe or follow or continue to watch it is just very, very humbling. And whether TikTok goes away or not, because you guys support the content the way you do, I will still be able to be a full-time content creator. And I know there's a lot of people out there where if TikTok does go away, they're basically starting over.
Yep.
And the idea of starting over today is very scary because I think it's statistically shown that like more and more people are trying to be content creators because of the benefits that come with it. which means it's that much harder to start and stand out. I wouldn't even bother trying to start out as a Twitch streamer right now. It's so oversaturated.
On that note, Kick is doing a creator incentive program, and it's gotten Trainwreck to stream again, which is cool. So maybe go start on Kick if you really want to stream, but that's only if there's actually viewers on there, and I don't think there is. So
Yeah, I don't know. Streaming is one of those things
or
that
you
like
go stream on
I've
Twitter
completely lost.
or Facebook.
I'm completely out of touch on streaming, but seriously, thank you guys for watching the content, and we'll see what happens next week. You get you some G Fuel, get you some Fit Butters, use code DannyD for both of those. Join our Patreon. We would love to have you over there. And stay tuned for more news about the film. And we'll see you next week, hopefully with Jorge for episode 69.
I hope he's on, man.
I hope so too. Bye.
Peace.